It was 1999. I was in a small town in the state of Puebla, located to the east of the city. Part of my family had gone to live there because Puebla was no longer like before. One afternoon, I was having dinner with my cousin Maria very close to the Franciscan convent. Suddenly, one of the people there exclaimed, "God, there are witches." This woman quickly left the place. Near the town, there is a hill, and you could see balls of straw coming down from it. I watched as everyone ran from the square to their houses. I didn't understand what was going on. Being from Mexico City, I was confused. My cousin just told me, "Run, Carla, or better go to Juan Carlos' house." Juan Carlos was her cousin and my boyfriend, though we weren't related. I felt weird seeing everyone running and saying, "Here come the witches." I wondered what was happening and which witches they were talking about. I went to Juan Carlos' house, and they told me, "Carla, please come pray with us." I saw that they put lime on the door, a kind of cross outside, rosaries in the windows, blessed palms, and open scissors. I wanted to go to my grandmother's house a block away, but they told me not to, that I wouldn't dare. I asked for an explanation. Juan Carlos's sister told me, "The witches? You don't know what witches are? They come down to suck the babies, and my little sister is here. They know there's fresh meat in this place." What she told me filled me with fear, but I soon believed her. I could hear a kind of whining and macabre laughs. The baby started crying. I joined Juan Carlos and started praying, terrified by what I was hearing. Suddenly, his father, a big, strong man, armed himself with a stick and left the house cursing. I was overcome with sleep and stayed in the living room with several rosaries and blessed palms on me. When I woke up, Juan Carlos was gone. No one was in the house. Afraid, I went to my aunt's house 2 blocks away. I entered because the door was open, and a cousin came out, looking at me strangely. I asked him what was up, and he asked where I had been. I explained that his sister had told me to go to Juan Carlos's house. He just said he was fine and left. I went up to my aunt's bedroom to talk to her, but it was all dark. Her husband said, "She doesn't want to see anyone right now." It hurt a bit because I adored my aunt. I decided to return to Mexico City for a few days, but first, I told Juan Carlos the first was leaving. He was with his mother that afternoon and asked, "And how is your aunt?" I said my cousin told me she had fallen but was fine, so I was leaving for a few days. The woman smirked, saying, "Yes, your aunt fell, or rather, they fell." I asked what she was talking about, but Juan Carlos told her to be quiet and took me to the terminal. I returned in 15 days, and my aunt was still recovering. She was coughing and bruised. I went to see Juan Carlos, and another of his sisters opened the door. She told me directly, "Carla, your aunt is the witch." I asked, "What are you talking about?" I came in, and Juan Carlos's mother told me he was in the kitchen. There, he told me many things my aunt had done with my cousin Maria. I couldn't believe such atrocity, but everything made sense. My aunt and cousin had strange attitudes, but I had never paid attention. From there, my relationship with my aunt broke because I couldn't see her the same way. In fact, she ran me out of the house, and I had to live at Juan Carlos's house. Everything detonated when I saw him making the food and taking out a bag with some white powders. I asked my aunt what he was doing, and everything changed. The relationship we had took a drastic turn. Apparently, my aunt had us all very quiet and very stupid. My aunt was like the victim, and I was like the bad one. I literally threw powders at the food, yes, at everyone, including their children. I also discovered that he was a lover of his brother-in-law and had given him a kind of tea, which made this man look like a fool. The cherry on the cake was when he started looking for the powders, but I had already thrown them. I literally put that like a trapped animal. After that, one Sunday when I was going to the federal district, my cousin's wife told me, "Come, I made panza." I don't like it. However, it was something so strange that I would have eaten it and even another plate would have asked, since I'm not really a meat eater. My aunt, who was never at my cousin's house that day, was watching me how I swallowed every bite of that ponza. As the days went by, my stomach got inflated. Anything I ate hurt me and gave me cramps. I ended up vomiting it, and every day that belly became more prominent. Then I had a fight with my boyfriend that I had there, and then there was no reason to go. But before I had ended up badly with my family there for gossiping about my day to the witch. Like 2 months I got a heart attack, and I don't even know why I did it. I had scary dreams. I saw that people lit candles as if they were lighting a deceased. Little by little I stopped eating because I was not hungry anymore. I only drank milk and a lot of water. My family thought I was anorexic and even got me into a specialist on those issues. However, I still couldn't sleep. I was thinner, hairy and strange. And very, very quiet. One day in July I started feeling so dizzy and so much that I couldn't get out of bed. I also wanted to eat, but I couldn't, and I wanted to sleep, but less. That day a comadre of my mother came and said, "Ay comadre, look at how your daughter is. We should take her with my comadre Panchita, because for me she is being magic." That same day they took me, and I must say that I almost didn't walk. I could practically not and felt my legs like tangled. I was like going to the point of starting to drool. We went with Panchita, and when she saw me she said, "Ave Maria, this woman is very bad." Well, what did they do to her? My mother explained to her little by little that she had stopped eating, sleeping and going out. And that she had become very strange to everyone. Panchita then said to her, "Mother, your daughter is very bad. I can't even help her. This is high magic and they want to see her dead. They gave her something to eat and she's already very advanced." My mom obviously got scared, and they gave her a salt that I should have taken, and I would take out everything that was in my stomach. Panchita approached me and said, "Daughter, when you take this, it's going to get bad and you're going to get very, very bad. Put yourself in God's hands because they want you very cold." I understood her, but she looked like a fool. She was drooling and I couldn't talk, and my gaze was on a person bad for his mental faculties. Inside me she said to help me please, that I couldn't talk and that I felt like I was going to die. We got home, and before I went to sleep I took the salts. And it was the worst night of my life. It was a very bitter and disgusting salt. I started to feel very dizzy, and then I don't remember anything else. I think what I saw, I got dizzy because it was something that really terrified me. I got a fever and I was sweating too much, and that day it rained like a horror movie. My mother was by my side watching how she reacted, and I half opened my eyes and went back to sleep. In one of those dreams I clearly saw my bed. I was there between 4 serious and they were watching me like a deceased. There was also a woman dressed in Tawana who was making fun of my mother and me. When I saw this I felt that it was more, and my mother began to call me and move me because I literally couldn't talk. I woke up and started crying, and my mother was desperate because not a single word came out of my mouth. She hugged me and I fell deeply asleep. The next day, it was Saturday, and my older brother came into my bedroom and said to me, "Don't F. What the F happened to you? Who the F did this to you?" As I couldn't answer, he called my mother and said, "Let's go with Paula, Mom. My sister is going to die, don't you see?" He almost carried me, and they took me with Paula to the Roma colony. I walked as if I had a poliomyelitis problem. I was drooling and I didn't talk, and my look was gone. When Paula saw me, she said, "What the fuck did they do to you?" She pulled me and said, "Tell me, who wants to kill you?" I was screaming inside to help me, and I started crying. My mother and my brother cried because they really didn't say anything at all. She gave my mother some jar candles and told me to clean them. When they explode, because they are sure to explode, that she speaks everything she is seeing. This is high magic and they are delivering it. So don't waste time and take her with this man on Monday. Tell him they're on my side and they're going to attend to them in chinga. This girl shouldn't waste time. When I got home, I cleaned myself as I could with the jars that were fanning, and when I turned them on, I turned around and the 3 jars exploded. I swear that when they exploded, I felt that I was freeing myself from something. Then I told my mother, it's my aunt. She is, along with her damn Tagan witches. I saw her, Mom. Please help me, I feel like I'm going to die and I don't want to. I did everything Paula sent me that day and I finally could sleep. Sunday was normal and I talked to Paula and she told me that she really wanted me dead. But that someone very bastard was protecting me and that he was an ancestor of mine. Obviously, he was no longer in this world because he was a deceased. It was Monday and we went with Ricardo. We were in the normal subway and through that neighborhood we got into a neighborhood, but when I walked to his house I saw myself so weird, so ugly and sad. I was also hairy because I didn't grow my hair, and I was also extremely thin. I didn't even know how I was walking with those thin legs that looked like they were about to break. Then we arrived and Ricardo told me, "Oh, what a fucking bitch this bitch is doing to you. Come on, daughter. Right now we're going to see what we do with this bitch." I was shaking and he gave me the letters and he said, "Oh, bastard. It's a relative of yours." "No, they're 2. Mother and daughter. And they're witches. But those who take off their legs. And the ones who are working for them are other Tagan witches because you get bad at one of them. All this is because you discovered his great secret, and you left them like they are." He kept talking and asked him what he was doing to get rid of all this. He sent me some baths with salt and yodo, but I had to do them in a public bathroom. I never should have done them in my house, as well as a series of other things. I had to go every Friday to get him to clean me with herbs, candles and firewood, etc. in one of those bathrooms that were I think 5 in total. I saw the witch. He said to my aunt that she was like a witch, not as a human. I literally got scared. I yelled at my mother and said, "Look at her, there's the daughter of the fuck and she's turning. Give me the phone quickly." I called Ricardo and I told him what was happening and he said, "No way, daughter. He's going to come back and he already knows you're getting better. He's going to get all this dog-like. But you don't be afraid of the asshole." He suddenly disappeared and I continued with my treatment. One of those days Ricardo told me, "Do you hear when I pass the branch here?" I did it and it looked like cardboard to what he answered. "These fucking girls made a monkey of yours with your underwear. How long have you been without fixing?" I told him that I had been 8 months and they had diagnosed me as sterile. He just laughed and said, "My eggs, you're going to be a mom and don't be a mom, this is already marked." It was for a pair of scissors and he literally said to me, "I'm going to cut your underwear. Tell your mom to come here." My mom came in and gave her things to protect herself and I must say that by then she was totally different. She almost had no holes, her hair had begun to grow and she ate little, but she ate. She could also talk and sleep a little better. But that's right, I felt a lot of fear and I felt observed at all times. That day, as you are going to hear, it seemed that Ricardo was cutting like corrugated cardboard. When he got to my inner part, one felt burning inside. It was as if I had something inside and my legs were completely free. I didn't feel tight or weird anymore. Ricardo got angry when he finished and said, "Son of a bitch. But you don't want them to know who you are, right, bitch? Right now I'm going to show them your head, fucking witch." He cleaned me with a stone when he burned my cousin's face. Yes. So, just like my cousin's face. Ricardo shouted then. "Now yes, you son of a bitch. You grabbed the most stupid one, but you took it off because her grandmother takes care of her. And you do know who her grandmother is, right?" I was trembling, scared to death, and I put my pants and my blouse on. I felt like water came out of my vagina as if it were a coffee liquid and thick. I went to bathe with the salt and it was my last bath and I felt very happy. However, it had been a very strong fight because in the house you could hear noises and voices, even knocking on the window of my bedroom. It was the Tawanas who tried to wake me up with threats. That day, at the end of the bathroom, Ricardo gave me a liquid. He told me it was time to take out what they had given me to swallow, and I took it. It was holy water with some herbs which I knew very well. The next day I woke up almost vomiting and I felt like I wanted to vomit something but I couldn't. I went to the bathroom and put my fingers in my throat. I swear I took out balls of hair, stumptious and worms. They moved and smelled disgusting and it was something very traumatic. But literally when I took this out, my stomach flattened and my breath was no longer affected. By the week Ricardo told me that he was going to cut me again because they had left me sterile. Don't worry, you're going to be the mother of a boy and a girl. He cut me and I heard a lighter sound and I put the scissors over my skin without hurting myself. When he got to my belly I felt clearly that he was cutting me and I screamed, "No, no, it hurts." He didn't stop and kept cutting and he said, "These bitches, daughter of the devil, are fucking crazy. We're almost done." 2 days later I went to the bathroom and I had a terrible pain in my belly. I yelled at my mom that I felt something that was stuck in my vagina. I looked up and, for God's sake, I was hanging from the inside a scorpion. I told my mom to call Ricardo and I said, "Get him out of here. Get the son of a bitch out of here." I pulled him out and I saw a huge clot and it started to bleed a little. After 2 weeks, I menstruated again and my uterus was clean of cysts. When I finished the treatment with Ricardo, she was a totally different young woman. I finally came back to be myself. I was asleep and the phone rang and I answered and she was my cousin, who was the other daughter of my aunt, and she said to me, "Carla, please, forgive my mother who is dying. May God forgive her because I only gave her what she wanted for me, no way. Carla, please be kind. Just hang up the phone." Immediately I called Ricardo and he said to me, "Daughter, your aunt fucked her mother and if she survives she will never be able to do anything to her or her race." The one who took the shit was the Tawana. He came to visit me already dead and I told the bitch that no way, that she what the fuck got into the ass of your aunt's bitch. This that I told them happened to me when I was barely 20 years old. When this happened to me for a year and a half of my life, it was the most scary thing. However, despite all this damage they did to me, I really don't keep any grudge. May God forgive them, but don't forget me. And all this to discover that I was a witch.